Sometimes hitting start is the hardest part about recording the YouTube's videos. Hi, if you're new here, which you probably are, or maybe you're not, thanks for clicking, thanks for watching. Let's get the YouTube formalities out the way. Like, share, and most of all, subscribe if you feel like this gave you any value, which I hope it does. Today, we're going to talk about pop psychology bullshit that I am most definitely tired of hearing. I was inspired by this lovely Instagram. I know that I'm pretty sure she's a psychologist. I'm pretty sure she is. She has some pretty wonderful points and advice to give, and she wrote this post I think like back in 2023 when I had a podcast back then. I actually used this as one of my topics and it's always stuck with me. I always thought like today we live in a super therapeutic society. The proof is in the pudding, guys. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working for us to be always so absorbed with how we feel, how society feels. It's the culture, it's a cultural shift that I think will hurt us in the long term, and it's not balanced. I will acknowledge that we went from kind of super repressive to now going back on the other side of the pendulum where everything has to be free and everything has to be explored. And some of these terms I really don't think y'all should have got a hold of. I think it robs the people that are actually suffering from mental illnesses that really need the help. I think it robs it from them, and it takes away the meaning of some pretty deep concepts. I know that using these concepts is taking away who really have these really deep issues, like ADHD or ADD. I definitely know that we know people that have ADHD, but when the commoner like me or somebody else is constantly saying how they have ADD and ADHD, it robs them. It takes the meaning away from the person who's actually suffering from that disorder. So I've composed 5, the magic number 5, of pop psychology BS that I think that I know we need to stop overusing. Yeah. Let's get into it. All right, number 1, everybody being a narcissist. I just hate to say it to you, every asshole is not a narcissist. Every asshole that was mean to you, that boyfriend that didn't quite grow up, just because someone is mean or just because someone is a little self-absorbed and a little selfish, or maybe a lot selfish and a lot self-absorbed, does not mean that they're a narcissist. A narcissist is on the extreme side of the spectrum, or they really have a problem of seeing things in any way other than their own. Okay, here are some nice little traits of a person that has NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. A sense of self-importance, preoccupation with power, beauty, or success. Entitled. Can only be around people who are more important or special. Interpersonally exploitive for their own gain. Arrogant. Lack empathy. Must be admired. Envious of others, or believe that others are envious of them. Now, can you sit here and say that you personally have never experienced any of those on here? Really? Be honest with yourself. We all experience a little bit of narcissism. Even the person that's claiming that somebody else is a narc is actually a narcissistic to think that you are so special or so weak and vulnerable that they just had to choose you. You were so great, you were so nice, you were so sweet that they saw you as prey. And if you were honest with yourself, you get off on that a little bit, don't ya? You like that. You like that they thought you were the one when really, you might have just been the closest one there. Everyone experiences a little bit of narcissism. No one is immune from that. Are there people that have NPD? Absolutely. I'm not going to say it's rare because I don't deal in that realm. I don't know how rare it is. But yeah, everybody you encounter that was a little mean to you or did something a little selfish and assholey is not a narcissist. This one is one of my favorites. It's trauma. I'm so traumatized. The trauma experience as a kid. I'm so drama. We hear this one so much, and I'm so tired of hearing it. Oh, everything that you do, if you tell a kid no, oh, that's so traumatizing. If you let a kid, it's so traumatizing. I'm so tired of walking in like Target or Walmart, and I'm seeing these kids acting absolutely crazy, when they scream at the top of their voice, and their parents are just sitting there because they're afraid they're going to traumatize their kid if they tell them to shut the fuck up, or if they give them discipline where they actually need the discipline. It's like Don't we know, don't we all agree that tough things make wonderful people? Just because you experience pain does not equal trauma. Pain does not equal trauma. And say it again, pain does not equal trauma. You are not some traumatized person walking around here. And like I said, we take away from the people who are actually traumatized. Like, people who've been in war. I'm sure it's hella Palestinians being brutalized and Israelis. I'm pretty sure the person that got sexually assaulted multiple times by her own father or mother experienced some real trauma. Just because maybe your parents were emotionally immature, they didn't have the necessary tools to deal with children, because let's just face it, being a parent doesn't come with a manual. Doesn't mean you face trauma. It hurts and it's painful. It's painful when your parents call you names, or your brothers and sisters make fun of you and you get insulted. Of course, those things are painful, but how could you equate your pain with the pain of having your arm blown off, or having someone betray your body in such a way that you'll never be the same person again? Are you really going to sit there, have your cry fest, have your pity fest with someone who has actually faced real trauma? No, you're not going to. You might be laughed out of the trauma room, so to speak. Trauma is obviously a traumatizing experience, but just because you're hurt and you relive it over and over again because you refuse to let it go, you refuse to let your pain go because you're addicted to suffering, doesn't mean we get to subtract from the people that actually have real trauma, real traumatizing childhoods and adulthood. We need to learn how to stop trying to take away the spotlight and shine it on us. To me, that is true narcissistic behavior in the guise of, oh my God, I'm so hurt. Please help me. I'm so traumatized. Oh my goodness. It's just the reverse side of just being the narcissist who needs your attention and needs the adoration all the time. You're just looking for adoration in a different way by claiming that you're somehow traumatized. So please stop confusing pain for trauma. It's not cute anymore. Okay, people pleasing. People pleasing is a tricky one, because while I will admit sometimes being a doormat is not okay, but wanting to please people around you, wanting to do things for the people you love, being generous with your time and your resources, I feel like we're robbing ourselves of something that is inherently human. To want to make the people around you, want to make their lives just a little bit easier with something that you're like, dang, this doesn't really cost me anything. I could help take a load off of their back, or I can make things a little bit easier. It's an innate human want. It is a part of what we are, a part of the human experience here in the 3D. It's how people make their money. Think about it. Marketers wouldn't make any money if they didn't try to please people. If you go to church, they have to please you to a certain extent so you can keep coming back, so you can support the church with not only your attention, but your hard-earned dollars. There's so many ways that people pleasing is inherently a part of this world experience. And guess what? If you like pleasing people, I implore you to do that. I implore you to go and try and find a people to please. I hope you can find a person to please and make their day a little bit easier. I would say yes, avoid trying to be a doormat, but being in service to your community and to the people around you, there's nothing wrong with that. Please your man, please your woman, please a person. Do it. It'll make you feel good. It always makes you, it makes most people feel good, except for the narcissist. To do something for someone else and see a smile on their face, or to see a sigh of relief. Just do it. You know when to stop. When you start feeling a little angry, start feeling a little resentment, that's when you stop. It's that easy. You don't have to keep going when you don't want to. You don't have to keep thinking that this trait that we have as a human being is something to resent. No. People please. You don't have to overthink it. Just do it. You'll feel better. And once you start feeling that little anger, that little, oh, I shouldn't do this, then don't do it. But people pleasing is great. It makes you feel good, makes everybody else feel good. Go ahead and do it. People please today. I give you permission to please the people. Another good one. Everything does not need to be normalized. I might ruffle a few feathers and say, the feathers are already ruffled on this one, but fat acceptance, drag library time, quiet quitting, Those things don't need to be normalized. I know that fat acceptance is killing us. It's making us mentally lazy. Drag queens performing in front of children is not okay. That's entertainment for adults. It does not need to be entertainment for a child. And quiet quitting, listen, I know how stressful it can be to go into work, enter when the clock in, and sit at your desk while you just know you're like, man, I don't want to be here. But I will say, giving your bare minimum at your place of employment just gives you permission to be a half-ass human. Now, if you go into your job and say, I'm going to quiet quit, I'm only going to do the bare minimum. Here's the thing. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Let's say you get a little bit annoyed. Let's say you wanted to become an entrepreneur. You had this really wonderful idea. Let's say you start making some money from it. You make a cool $1,000, $2,000 a month, but it's not enough to get you out of your current job, right? When things get hard, are you gonna quiet quit on your dream? Are you gonna go, no, I'm only gonna do the bare minimum because my customers don't appreciate me, and looking at Excel spreadsheets is hard, and trying to get the shipping together is a little harder than I thought. Or you're not having a good day with yourself, which is the boss, right? You are the boss when you get into entrepreneurship, and you go, oh no, I don't really value myself, and I keep giving myself all these hard hours. I'm only going to half-ass it. No, maybe it's not a good example, but you get my point. You don't want to get into the habit of letting that kind of mentality seep over into other areas of your life. Because I guarantee you, if you quiet quit or do the bare minimum, you're going to do bare minimum at the other place that you feel doesn't respect you or whatever because you're bored at your desk. Just because you may feel, emphasis on feel, that something isn't fair doesn't mean the rest of society has to pay for that unfairness. Most people want to strive for greatness. Most people don't want to strive for mediocrity. Most people don't want to strive for laziness. What would be the point of living around here if you just skated through? If you just sat and had everything handed to you, if you didn't have to go through anything hard, you wouldn't really respect life. You wouldn't respect the people around you. You would be no more than a monkey in a test cage, hitting random buttons, not really knowing what your place is in the world. You just be a lab rat, a lab project, a lab monkey. And anybody could do whatever they want to because you were shapeless, you were formless, you had nothing to stand on, you had no backbone. And that's starting with normalizing every fringe society idea that comes up inside of our heads, inside of our zeitgeist. And really, someone gave us these problems. They try to give you the problem and then they give you the solution to solve it as well. There's actually like a sect of men and women who dress up, who are basically transvestites, or they dress androgynously. They'll dress like a woman, they cross-dress to represent Shiva and Parvati in an ultimate form of oneness. When they combined, they are both male and female, and they've been doing that for thousands and thousands of years. And that's more sacred because they never forced that on anybody. They never said, well, you have to do this in order to get closer to God, in order to be a better human. It just was in their particular group. I didn't try to normalize it around India. Maybe they did. I never dived that deeply into the subject. They never tried to convince society that that's what they should be doing. They never tried to convince the masses they should be more like them. It was just accepted of, this is how we choose to worship this particular God. This is how I get closer to divinity. Anyone trying to force or normalize something that you're just not okay with, there's something going on there. There's something going on there. Why? Why are you trying to prove to me? What is this? Why would you have anything to prove? If it's so good, then let the product speak for itself, right? Think about that. This last one's pretty cool because now when I think about it, I think people are starting to toughen up again, which I'm very excited to see. This is the word triggered. Everything had to have a trigger warning. Remember at one point? It still does. You still have to have a trigger warning for a lot. I see it in YouTube videos. Not a lot. But every once in a while, you'll see somebody who's like, oh, this is a trigger warning. And you just laugh like, why do you need a disclaimer for your opinion? When did we become so weak that being triggered should be something that put up on this pedestal, that I should trigger you, that I should give you a trigger warning just in case? It's like, something seems very, what's the word I'm looking for? Sleazy about the word triggered. Because it's almost like a little trump card that you get to play down when someone says something that you don't agree with and you don't have the vocabulary to say why you disagree with it. You know, being triggered just means you're weak-minded. You don't feel like you're a weak person, are you? If you have a strong enough opinion that you want to express to the world, you should have a mental strength about you. You should go toe to toe with the opposing opinion, right? The person that is opposing your view. You should have the mental fortitude to go against them, to defend your opinion, to defend what you should know is right. And if you don't, well, you just look like an easily dominated person. If I was a conqueror, I would go after the easily triggered, because I can get you to do anything if I can get you mad. And when you're angry, you feel of resentment and rage, you're easily manipulated. Being angry is not a superpower. It feels good in the moment because, man, you get that adrenaline pumping. Man, it's when you get angry, it's like, man, you could fight a gorilla sometimes. You feel like you could just fight a fucking gorilla when you get angry, but you're not thinking right. You're not thinking the best. You can be knocked off your square easily. I think they teach that in martial arts, right? Like, no, you don't fight with your emotions. You actually are weaker than you just standing there. You're weaker when you fight from your emotions than when you fight from a place of stoicism, from a place of control. Yeah, you should apply that. You should wonder, you should question why am I so triggered by this? Because through the trigger is actually your healing. You don't avoid the trigger. You actually dive deep into it. What made me so upset? Damn, why does it make me so uncomfortable? And you dive deep into that. That's real healing. And then once you find the source of wherever that pain was, you let it go. You don't dwell on it and say, I'm healing. I'm just healing this deep-seated, just the one time my dad did this, the one time my mom did that, I'm healing. I'm just healing from that. No, you let your feelings and your resentments go about it. You can never truly heal from anything anyway. It's still always going to be a part of it. It made you who you are. It's the flaw in the artwork that is you, right? It's that fucked up pink pattern that somebody look like and go, oh, that's interesting. That makes up the whole beauty of what you are. So all right, coming to the end of my little short video. I'm pretty sure this one is short, but thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate you. I love you. Please come back for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.